Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Shri Asito Ma Satgamaya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Bhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. We'll do the 2 verses of Gita like we have been doing, and then we'll go to Mandukya.
Right.
So we were at, this is chapter 2. And this is verse 68. And the Sanskrit is Tasmadasya Mahabaho Nigruhitani Sarvashah Indriyani Indriyarthebhyah Tasya Prajna Pratishtita. So as everybody remembers that we were doing the Lakshan of the Sthita Prajna, one who is established in knowledge, and in that process Krishna Bhagavan was explaining what the person is like and what we should strive for. And the English translation for this verse is, therefore, O mighty armed, his knowledge is steady, whose senses are completely restrained from sense objects. And for the continuity's sake, the previous verse was, the person whose senses are not in control, his condition is like a boat in the ocean without the boatman. Going here, there, and then the very famous example of the chariot, that the 5 horses are like the 5 senses, and if they are not in control, they will go in 5 different directions, and then what will happen? They'll crash. So that's exactly what he's talking about. So basically, the beginning of spiritual life begins with sense control. And as I remember, somebody was saying that sometimes we don't know where to begin. And this saint said that even start with a small discipline in your life. Like, hey, if I have a health issue, a doctor told me not to eat this, I'm not going to eat it from now. So it's like when you start from there, it gives you courage because to lead a spiritual life is much more than just senses, right? We have to control our mind in the end. So, but where do I begin? So, that kind of thing.
I think most of the people have that question, where to begin.
Yes, begin with a small thing.
Yeah.
Or, I'm not going to talk on the phone too much, or I'm not going to gossip, or just start with one thing, and that can lead you to some more stuff. And then he's talking about, in the commentary, he calls Arjun Mahabaho. So he's telling you you're so strong, but he's not referring so much. Everybody knows his physical strength, but here in the commentary, Swamiji says that he's telling him that you have to control your internal senses. That's the main thing. So you are such a mighty armed person, but fight the internal war first before you go. That's why he gave him the Gita, that before you go for your external war, you got to control the internal war. And that's number 1. And number 2, that if you want something more in life than just, constantly crying, laughing, and going through life with this kind of, roller coaster type of thing, then there is no choice but start with a sense control. Because mind you cannot control the mind until you start from the outer thing. So, and here he uses one word where he says the actual translation is like, oh, destroying the sense organs, but it's not, he's saying that's not, obviously not. It's not like we need our sense organs to function. So basically, whatever is coming through it, sometimes we can control, sometimes we can't even control. Like hearing, somebody was saying, if you don't want to see something, you can close your eyes. But what are you going to do? You can't close your ears. So you hear a lot of things. And so the best thing is that to not let it affect you. So the Sthita Prajna is the one who gets everything, but he's so established in that truth that to him it doesn't matter. We will hear a little bit of our criticism and we go through the roof. That kind of thing. And they are like, yeah, I don't care, he's talking about my body. I'm not that, or whatever, So I think everybody understood that, right? Yeah. Any question about that? Yeah. So I think
this actually comes directly from Gita.
This is Gita.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. What we were doing is the lakshan of Sthita Prajna, person who is established in wisdom. So we started. So I thought that this gives us the goal. Otherwise, we study, but we don't know where we are going. So here it gives us some food for thought. Hey, what I can do every day, Yeah, that's why we started that.
Good.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. And the next one, so we do 2 verses from Gita. This is verse 69 of chapter 2. And the verse Sanskrit is Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutanam Tasyam Jagrati Sanyami Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani Sanisha Pashyato Munehe. So the English translation goes, that which is night to all beings, in that the self-controlled man wakes, where all beings are awake, that is night for the sages who sees. So this is a mystical language. It's a little subtle. It's a poetic language. So all he's saying is that it sounds like, oh, jab uski raat hoti hai, to uska din hota hai. If you just take a literal translation, that's what it means. But what it means, he's awakened to the higher self. So when he sees the world, he sees from a different eyes. That's all it means. So other people are asleep to that.
Yeah.
So when we say that, we are still in Nidra according to saints and sages, right? We are still...
Even Nanak
Nidra
said,
means we are
everybody
still
is
asleep.
asleep. Most people are asleep.
Yes.
That's what Nanak said.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why Sthita Prajnas are very few.
Right.
So he's just saying that when they see the world, they see as it is, not with their colored glasses. Our mind has all the काम, क्रोध, लोभ, मोह, मद, मात्सर्य. So it is all, messed up, our mind. We see through those glasses. So हमको कोई बुरा लगता है, कोई ये लगता है. And sometimes we know how much we project in our mind. We assume so many things. Oh, this person may be like that person said this, it means this, and that person may not have said anything. He may not be even talking about you, So that's what basically, because people sometimes get confused with what it means, but here Swamiji gave a very good example. He said that suppose some villager comes and sees electricity and what electricity can do, and he is so amazed in wonderment, and he goes into like such happiness, and the electrician comes and immediately he's like, is this AC current or DC current? Is it this? It is that? He gets so caught up in that. So they both have different worlds. This guy cannot understand what he's doing. This guy cannot understand what he's doing. So he's saying that saints and sages, once they get established, for them it is like a child's play, all these things. They don't get affected. For them it's like nothing. But you know how much we get riled up. So that's why he made this thing.
In Gita, Krishna refers to this as Jnani or Agyani.
Yeah.
Gnan or Agyan. Agnani is not the lack of knowledge, it's the lack of wisdom.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, correct.
And so Gnani is the one who wakes up,
Yeah.
who is above, just like what you were saying, when you rise above. And I think it gives, most of the time people know when they reach that stage, and they become more humble. When
Yeah,
you reach
yeah.
that stage, then you know that yes, I can understand. Now I see what's happening around me.
Because they see the oneness, and for them, they love everybody, the whole world, and for them nobody is like bad. They're just ignorant, that's all. That's how they look at it. We look at good and bad, good and bad. They just look at, hey, this person, the moment he wakes up, he'll be like me. That's how they look at it. That's why they try to help you to wake up. That's all they're doing. And sometimes they may look like they have worldly habits and all, but they are in body, they might, but inside they are totally established. That's what it is. Yeah. Some people criticize, that some saints and sages, oh, he did this, he did that, but they are dancing to a different tune, and if you can see that, that's what matters.
Gyan is a dharma, is what I think it says.
I mean, when they say dharma, the
or
real...
yoga, yoga, Gnan yoga.
Yeah, dharma, yoga, even the highest dharma is that only. It's holding on to the sat. Right? Yeah.
Ultimately, हम लोग को मोक्ष के लिए ultimate is मोक्ष. And मोक्ष मतलब क्या कि तुम तुरिया स्टेज में हो, तुमको सब चीज एक लगती है कि तुमको खाली the whole thing for you, the world is just लीला.
Yeah, like we were
It's
talking
just a
about last
play.
time. Yeah, it's a play. It's
And
a
then
game.
to get established in that, it is a play. So if anything really happens in the family or to the children and all, you say it's a passing phase. And growing up of that soul, like ups and downs that come in life is our own passing,
Yes, absolutely. It's a spiritual journey for everybody.
It's
Yes.
being polished actually.
If you look at it that way, I think its intensity goes down, meaning that if something is bothering
No,
us,
because you have then you have actually what all the sages are saying कि तुम अपने आप को अपने शरीर से थोड़ा अलग करके देखो, be a witness.
Yeah.
right.
So when you start thinking in those terms, then you're a witness. So तुम अलग हो और वो ये सब जो लीला हो रही है वो अलग है. तो every day उसका सुबह उठकर practice करने का तो ball rolls in the correct direction.
I mean, that's why we have...
Actually, I'm sorry. It doesn't roll in the correct direction. Whatever direction it rolls, you find it correct.
Yeah.
Meaning that it's the same,
No, but in
it
your
doesn't
mind,
bother you. It doesn't
every
bother
time
you.
you are able to,
Separate,
separate
Separate.
and be in a witness.
Yeah, I think that is the most difficult thing because it is so close, the connection is so close
Yes.
that you don't know how to separate. And that famous thing about Vivekananda, that he went to that rock and he said he wanted to see the entire India away from it because he saw so many problems in India and he didn't know what to do. He was getting so frustrated, and so he said he had to meditate. And so it was symbolic. He went outside of India, sat on the rock and looked at it. It's like witness. Now what do I do? And then the answers came to him. And we see in our own everyday problem also. If we are so emotionally sucked into it, we cannot see. That's why sometimes you ask a friend, hey, what do I do here? Because the friend can see objectively, or some therapist or somebody, or even some wise person in the family or the saint.
Even your children.
Yeah, children sometimes give you better advice. Yeah.
You are so right about it.
Because you are all caught up and you can't see. So moment you separate, then hey, it's not as bad as I thought.
नहीं वो बता रहे थे ना कि it's so important to get out of yourself and saying क्या हो रहा है मैं ये लीला ही है कोई जात नहीं मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ.
And tomorrow if I die, all these things are going to matter.
Yeah, it disappears.
People are only going to remember two things: how nice you were to them.
Only for a short time.
Huh?
That too for a short time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Very
that's true.
short time.
But what I'm saying is the
I
material
think-
possession and all that, what you were wearing, what you were doing, what kind of house you have, nobody cares. It means the levels of things. Yeah, that's what it is.
Good.
So
Okay.
I think that was good.